You've heard it, you know it, but can you do it? Change your mindset to change your life. It is fairly common lexicon right now to know that our thinking creates our results. And there is philosophy, there is science. It is well proven that our results are a direct reflection of our thinking. Your thoughts, what you're thinking about on a continuous basis, is impacting your physiology. It's impacting how you feel. And how you feel changes your behavior. It influences and impacts your behaviors, your actions, what you're doing, what you're not doing. And guess what? Your results are based on your actions. If you're taking action, if you're not, what you're doing with your time, your talents, it's creating your results. Your thinking is influencing your results. And so if you want new results in your life, you have to change your thinking. You have to change your mindset. Where does it start? The first place is to take ownership of it. As you begin to recognize that, hey, my thinking is responsible for my results, what that does is it helps us end the pity party. You know the one. I've been there. I still go there, where it's, oh, poor me. Because of something else, I'm feeling this way. Because of my partner, because of my job, because of my upbringing, because of my parents, because this happened to me, I'm in the position I'm in. I've been there. It's so much easier to blame our results, to blame other people, to blame our history, to blame our past. It just is so much easier and more comfortable to do that. I'm here to implore you today to stop the pity party and take ownership. Hey, if my thoughts create my reality, this is great news, because if I created this reality, I can change this reality. Taking ownership, taking control, nobody can think your thoughts today but you. And if it was our environment that was responsible for our results, then every single person who's in the same environment would produce the same results. And we simply know that's not true. There's people who live in the same neighborhood who have great marriages. And there's people who live in that neighborhood who have crappy marriages. There's people who came from broken homes who are in really great marriages. There's people who came from nuclear families who aren't in great relationships. If it was true that our conditions and our environment produced our results, everybody that had the same environment would produce those results. It's simply not true. So stop the pity party and start taking ownership. Start taking control. Nobody can think your thoughts today but you. And I would love to stand here today and say, this is going to be really, really easy. And it's not. It is not easy to change your thought patterns. It's not easy to change your mindset. It's a very simple concept. Change your thinking, change your life. Very, very simple, not easy. And the reason it's not easy is because you and I have well-worn thought patterns. You have been thinking the same thoughts consciously, oftentimes subconsciously, over years and years and years. Chances are your parents thought those thoughts and their parents thought those thoughts. They are well ingrained in us. And just like when we're starting any new habit, we're learning something new, it takes a little bit of work in the beginning. Changing your thinking is no different. And I share that with you as a reminder to be easy on yourself as you're starting this process. So if you're ready for your life to be different and you're saying, yes, now's the time, I'm ready to take ownership, I'm ready to take control of my life, which requires me to take control of my thinking, how do you do that? How do you do that? And there's a very simple, again, simple, not easy, 3-step process that we can apply to our thinking to transform our thoughts, transform our lives. The first step is to simply start paying attention, to notice. Most of us don't realize that we can notice our thoughts. We know that we can notice the weather. We can notice if we have something, maybe a bug lands on your arm and you can notice that because you can feel it. We know that we can look in different places. Most of us don't notice that we can actually notice our thoughts and pay attention to our thinking. And as you start notice your thinking, As you start noticing and paying attention to your thought patterns, one of the best ways to notice your thought patterns is start to pay attention to the words that come out of your mouth. What are you talking about? Your words are a good insight into what you're thinking about. Paying attention to your words, paying attention to the conversations that you're in, paying attention and noticing if those words are going to create the results that you want. Noticing if you're constantly criticizing and condemning and regretting, right? What are the conversations that you're in? And are those in alignment for the results that you want? And without beating yourself up, without criticizing yourself, just start to notice those conversations. Start to notice the thoughts that you're thinking. What are your dominant thought patterns? What are you usually thinking about? Are you worrying about not having enough time, not having enough money? Are you always thinking about the future? Are you worrying about the past? Just pay attention. Be in what the Buddhists would call the observer self, or the metacognition, your ability to pay attention. Sounds really simple, but again, not easy, because most of us are just reacting to our environment. We're just waking up thinking the same things we woke up thinking yesterday. So that first step is an awareness piece. Become more aware and notice the conversations, notice the words, notice the thoughts. As you get better at noticing, celebrate the awareness. Most people on our planet will never have that level of awareness. They don't know to. Celebrate the awareness. Like, wow, good job me. I'm starting to become way more aware of the conversations that are happening around me. And then as you become aware, here's your power move, is your ability to interrupt. And we always tell kids, don't interrupt. It's rude to interrupt. I'm here to tell you, you must interrupt. And what you're interrupting is those thoughts. You're interrupting those words. And the moment you notice, this isn't serving me. Complaining about the weather isn't serving me. Complaining about what's happening around me isn't serving me. And as you become aware of that and you notice it, interrupt it. If you don't interrupt it, you'll keep thinking the same thoughts that will keep producing the same results. Become a very good interrupter, where you're interrupting and you're saying, I like to say, cancel that, or no, I'm not going there. And I'm doing this with my hand because sometimes it can be helpful to do a physical no, right? Cancel this. The better you get at interrupting those thoughts, here's the next opportunity, is to lay down new patterns. You have patterns of thought. I have patterns of thought. Some of those are serving you. Many of them are just producing the same results over and over again. As I notice, I interrupt, and then I replace. Notice, interrupt, replace. What's the new thought? What do I want to be talking about? What do I want to be thinking about? And sometimes you might know the answer to that. So the answer is just be quiet, right? Don't say anything. As you really get into the work of transforming your life, you're going to start to build a vision. You're going to have goals. You're going to have an idea of what it is that you want. Replacing those thoughts, those conversations with what you do want, what you are creating, where you want to go. And through repetition of this pattern, noticing, interrupt, replace, notice, interrupt, replace, the repetition of that, what that's going to do, it's going to create new neural pathways in your brain. It's going to create new thought patterns, which will change how you feel. All of a sudden, you just feel better. You feel more optimistic. You feel more positive. You're more excited. And then guess what happens? Your behavior changes. Pretty soon, instead of complaining with your coworkers, you're talking about what you're grateful for, what you're excited about. Your behaviors, your actions will start to change. And as you change your behaviors and your actions, your results will follow. Notice, interrupt, replace. We don't do this once. Here's the work. It takes repetition. You are well rehearsed in your thought patterns. And so the repetition of this, and what I would say is I see most people starting this process, but it gets hard. It's a lot of work in the beginning, just like learning any new skill, and they quit and they fall back to their old patterns. Noticing, interrupt, replace, on repeat, over and over and over again. We can put something else in place to help us collapse time on creating new thought patterns, creating new results. and that is putting ourselves in positive, high energy immersion environments. And this is exactly why we do Passion of Purpose Live, where we bring you together with a group of people who are also building their dreams, changing their patterns, creating new results for 3 full days, where you're installing those new thought patterns. And when you do that in an immersive experience, it's just like if you're learning a new language and you travel to a country that only speaks that language, you learn it faster. When you come to Passion of Purpose Live, it's an immersion experience to help speed up the repetition by adding immersion, which will collapse time on putting in place those new thought patterns, therefore your results. So if you are ready to change your life, you have to change your thinking. The way we do that is awareness. We notice, we interrupt, we replace. And I hope to see you at Passion of Purpose Live so we can really accelerate that process for you. I'm Stacey Berger. Here is to you living a life that you love.